Hi, I'm Beth Ann Edwards, and I am Director of Arts, Handbells, and Vocal Choirs here at St. John's Lutheran Church, and this is Reflection Connection for Monday, April 26th, 2021. I want to talk a little bit about Easter and Earth Day, and I'm going to step aside in just a minute because the altarpiece, the triptych of the mosaics that St. John's congregation created several years ago embodies both. It embodies the earth and the creation and Easter. So I'm going to step aside. I'll talk a little bit about that. And then I am going to read something from the Living Lutheran in April 2021. And it's an article written by our presiding bishop, Elizabeth Eaton. So you can look at the mosaics and you can listen to me. So here we go. So if you look at the three mosaics, we have three crosses: the Roman, the Greek, and the Hebrew. Now, if you look at the different color swatches in the mosaic, you see the blue on the bottom is the water, then there's green for the earth, orange for the crops, yellow for the sun, brown for that hazy atmosphere moving into the white or the heavens. So we have the three crosses for the Lenten Easter. We have the stripes of color for the creation. So take a look at that, study that while we listen to what Elizabeth Eaton has to say. The name of her article is Redeemed, Reconciled, and Unified. Twice in the Gospels, there is a story about a woman anointing Jesus with pure nard, one in Mark and one in John. In Mark, an unnamed woman comes to Jesus and anoints his head. In John, it's Mary of Bethany, the sister of Martha and Lazarus, who anoints Jesus' feet. In both Gospels, the anointing happens just before the crucifixion. In both stories, the disciples criticize the women for their wanton extravagance. In both stories, Jesus defends the women and declares that they have anointed his body for burial. This is a very human Jesus facing his impending death and passing in the midst of all the turmoil to be ministered to so tenderly. Jesus is with his friends, sharing a meal in their company. Soon his head and feet would be pierced by thorns and nails. But in these moments, his head and hands are soothed. In John, we hear the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. I had a colleague who once said that our lack of awareness of our spiritual hunger, distracted as we are by all the cares of life, is like someone not even realizing that she was hungry until she smelled baking bread. Stephen Bowman, former executive director of the Domestic Mission Unit, remembers as a child that when his parents came back from receiving communion, they smelled different. Certainly the wine, but also a fragrance of life. All of this points to creatureliness, Jesus and ours. In significant and sometimes disastrous ways, we have separated ourselves from the creation and the Creator. Adam was formed from Adamah, the dust of the earth. Adam was the earth creature. We are earth creatures. At the beginning of Lent, we heard, "Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return." Too often in Western thought, the material, created world has been deemed inferior to the spiritual, as if God would divorce God's self from the universe God created in love. In 1993, the ELCA created a social statement acknowledging humanity's separation from God and from the rest of creation as a central cause of the environmental crisis. Can we return home to God, the creation, and ourselves? Just before his crucifixion, Jesus said to his disciples, "Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. It falls into the earth, the created earth. God keeps creating." Back to nard. Nard was rare and expensive anointing oil. It was also pungent. It has been described as earthy, woody, dank, musty. In short, it smelled like the earth, and it was strong. The account in John says that the fragrance filled the room. It's likely that the fragrance clung to Jesus' body on the cross and in the tomb. Here was the complete accomplishment of the incarnation. The earth creature of Eden is redeemed by the earth creature of Calvary, Emmanuel, God with us. All of creation is reconciled. This April, we celebrate Easter and observe Earth Day. Heaven and earth meet, redeemed, reconciled, and reunited in the beauty of the Creator's loving handiwork. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.